Welcome to Lesson 4. This video is for the musicians who are learning to play by ear. As I mentioned in Lesson 3, it's really valuable to spend time with the scale, the echo, and the jam for each of these lessons because it'll familiarize you with the notes that you are going to be hearing and figuring out in the song. And in fact, the echo that I did for this lesson is right out of the songs. So in echo, you hear it and then you play it back. You hear it, you play it back. In one of the previous videos, I talked about this idea of add one, where you'll pick up on, say, 3 notes, and then you'll listen to the recording and try to pick up on the next note. Okay, so that's the foundation that most play-by-ear musicians use. The idea that I wanted to share with you for Lesson 4 is how valuable it is to kind of get the lay of the land for the whole song. And one way to do that is to listen to it a number of times through and see if you can start to almost like create a story based on what you hear. So in Are You Sleeping, right? That song, it's like it has 4 parts. Turns out that each part is repeated. And you can start to describe the parts. First part starts on Do. Do, re, mi, do, right? Second part starts on mi. Mi, fa, so. Third part has fast notes. And then the last part goes down low, right? So you're not telling the letter names of notes, but you kind of get an idea of what's going on. And that idea, you'd be surprised at how many songs, when you start to think that way, it makes them easier. So if we go to Red Haired Boy, for example, the song starts on Do. Let me play through it once. Now, you, me, just about everybody on the planet, if they hear that, they say, oh my gosh, there's so way too much for me to ever remember, right? Listening to a song 3, 4, 5, 6 times, even before you try to play it, to kind of get the story that it tells, really, really worth it, because your ear will start to pick up certain things. So, for example, this song also can be broken down into 4 main sections. First part starts on Do, and then it goes up through 5 fingers. Well, it turns out the second part of the song does exactly the same thing. And the fourth part of the song is an exact duplicate of the second part. So the second part and the fourth part, exactly the same notes. All right? Now, the third part has this jumpy thing. And I'll just tell you, I'll show you here. The third part goes to an F natural. So you finish the second part. When you jump to the third part, come up to C position. C position is where all of the songs in lesson 1, 2, and 3 are. So, right? And then this is from part 1, right? So when you approach a song that way, you kind of have a place to put things, and you have like a little marker on the road that shows you, okay, 2 more miles, and then 1 more mile, and then half a mile. And you start to kind of tell yourself a story, and it helps you put things in place. All right? So let me just give you one other little shortcut here. Left hand's starting to do some really cool things. I sometimes call this rocking, right? And in this song, you're doing the rocking bit, and then you go one higher. So that's an extension, right? So if you're wondering, what is that note? That's an extension, all right? And your pinky finger is on the G, right? And then one other little clue. If you get your pinky finger on the A, go right up the fingers. So that happens in the third part of the song. And the part you might be saying, well, oh, that's way too much to get used to remember. Listen to the song a number of times until you feel like you can kind of hum the melody in your head, right? Go to learn the right hand by itself. Learn the left hand by finding those bottom notes like I mentioned in the previous lesson, right? And then gradually you can put it together. So red-haired boy is a little challenging, but I wanted to give you that challenge because of what's about to happen. So when you go to We Wish You a Merry Christmas, the advantage is that almost everybody knows this, right? So let me give you, so we tell a little story. The way this goes is the first part. That happens on the first part, the second part, and the first part, the third part, and the fourth part. Is that right? Oh, no. My mistake. Okay, this is, see, I gotta figure out my own song. This is a song sandwich. First part is and the third part are the same. So bread. And in the middle is kind of a two-part deal. That's where I got confused. And that's kind of like the meat and cheese or the peanut butter and jelly, right? So We Wish You a Merry Christmas is built that way. Okay? So the song starts on the note D, goes from D to G, right? Then this idea goes up one note. And there's an outlier. So you have right? So you have those things going on. Left hand, just so you know, C, one note up, one note, one note, one note, one note. So you're going through what they call the chromatic. So your hand is doing those fancy things in this song. The middle section, it might help you. There, you're landing there. Thumb on B. Those notes, they're following each other up and they're following each other down. The spacing between, that's called a sixth, and that's covered actually in the lesson as well. If you're making up your own music using the sixth is a really common way of making it sound really good. Right? It sounds really good together. So anyway, hopefully those little tips will get you to these songs a little bit faster. And as the tunes in the lessons grow harder, I'll kind of give you a cheat sheet and make a few more suggestions about how to develop your playing by ear. And I will mention, for those of you who haven't seen this before and haven't seen any of the other videos, most people who play piano by ear are starting to identify the chords like a guitar player or a bass player knows the chords. Jazz and folk musicians, bluegrass musicians, they identify those chords pretty quick. So this idea that you're going to memorize two independent lines, that tends to go by the wayside, and the people who play by ear, they're starting to play according to the chord, And that's an easier way to organize it in your brain. And I'll be covering those in the more advanced lessons. So if you find this a little frustrating, you can learn the melody by ear. And before we're finished with the 12 lessons, you'll have a real confidence in following the guitar chords. Thank you so much for joining me. I'll look forward to catching up with you in Lesson 5.